essentially what we sort of want to do is we want to escape out of sort of the system. And the way we do that, at least to my freaking best knowledge and the best conclusion that I've sort of came with, is by trying to get independent, is by trying to get out of the system itself and essentially try and head out somewhere else. As we know, we live on this sort of, flat place, and this sort of earth that we live on, is pretty big. There are different lands that are on earth. And so perhaps we can go somewhere on these lands. Perhaps we can find a place that is away from these Wi-Fi towers and all this stuff. And we could essentially find our independence there. We could start to get our own animals. We could start to breed these animals together, get those chickens, get those cows, essentially homesteading. And this would sound weird from someone like me who's always talked about getting money and sort of all this stuff, or sounding weird from, all these different people who are talking about escape the matrix, get 100 cars and blah, 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 and look at my watch, all this stuff. But the truth is that's not actually how you escape the matrix. Being in the matrix, you're still in the matrix if you could be limited, if you could be found, I want to be fully off the radar. I want to be unrecognized by all these big people. You know what I'm talking about. And essentially, that's sort of the main deal. I want to try and be off the radar. And oftentimes that means sort of going off, doing my own little thing, homeschooling my children, sort of in my own little bubble. And oftentimes I sort of think about this and I'm like, right now, I would hope, it's like we're in 2026. I would hope that by 2029, I could be able to have my full sort of place on my own, and essentially have this small little village or this compound that is sort of separate, independent, and I could sort of have my different things in there, my farm, my all this stuff, and essentially have my own food, grow my own food, have my own cows that I could eat, that I could, have do their own thing. My own chickens that lay me my eggs and feeding them what they actually need to be fed. And more than that, sort of having my own little school where I homeschool my different children, having a home gym, having all these kinds of different things where essentially I become independent. I don't need to go out of my bubble. And obviously having my 4 different wives, because I plan on, marrying multiple women. And essentially the main thing that I'm sort of getting at is you want to make your own version of this, right? Like this is probably my own version of it. I might edit it slightly, still not really so sure, but you should find your own thing, right? You should find the way that you want to do things. This is the way that I've sort of concluded as to how we sort of run out of the system. There's this particular woman who I've been watching the videos of. She's called Gubba Homestead. And she has these different things. She's talking about all these kinds of different things. And I do think that a lot of what she says is true. But she's kind of really inspired me to look at the idea of homesteading and actually say, you know what, this is how our ancestors have always lived. This is how humans have always lived. Perhaps we should live the same way. Perhaps we shouldn't rely on these systems that will probably make going to the education system mandatory. You can't homeschool your children. You can't do any of this stuff. And you can't do like any of this bullshit. Essentially, you're just forced to become this cattle and whatever, and like the digital ID and like Siri's watching you and ChatGPT's watching you and Instagram is watching you and all this stuff. And I don't want my kids having phones. I don't want Wi-Fi in my house unless it's like fucking one router with an Ethernet cable connected to my laptop so I could record videos and, sort of spread my message. But besides that, that's really all I fucking want. I don't like to talk about it because I think this is probably something that's very personal to me. I just would not like people to know so much about this kind of particular thing, especially about the kind of personal life. But to some extent, I have to make this video to inspire you to perhaps think about your own life.